Good evening and welcome to EGI 2's 6 to 7 out of 10, 6 to 7 out of 10 game reviews 6. That's right. It's happy Valentine's Day to everybody who's joining us here tonight rather than doing something for Valentine's Day, whether that be getting a kiss, giving a kiss, or perhaps spending money on the kiss, or spending money on any number of things related to the kiss. But you don't have to feel like you have to do that, because when it comes to EGI 2 6 to 7 out of 10 game reviews, man, hold on. When it comes to EGI 2 6 to 7, this is a Pierogi University. Yes, this is a backdrop, so we can have a dynamic kind of set here, so we don't feel like this is as quite as a let's say bare bones production as the other show that we do on Mondays. Glad you guys like the look. I've fully turned it upside down, but I think it's best I turned it upside down tonight for a specific reason, which is that I want people to see up here we have some very specific games chosen for this backdrop that I think represent nicely the 6 to 7 out of 10 game reviews, modus operandi. No, not it's the soul of the show is 6 to 7 out of 10 games, and some of these up here I think you'll find are also considered to be 6 to 7 out of 10 games. Some of them, like Spider-Man, Web of Fire, and the 32X, probably closer to 5. But this Batman, the Bold. Oh, Batman, the Brave and the Bold for the Nintendo DS. That's definitely a 6 to 7 out of 10 game. Spawn Armageddon, 6 to 7 out of 10 game. I think most people will agree with that. This is the PlayStation Spawn game. This is the PlayStation exclusive Spawn game with it was a kind of the third person action adventure game. You run through tunnels, beat people with their limbs kind of game. And that would probably closer to 3 to 4 out of 10. But the point of the matter is, those are all part of the story that we're trying to tell with the 6 to 7 out of 10. Raisin Choir Girl gifted tier 1 subs to Soda. Congratulations to Soda and Raisin Choir Girl. Is that like older? So that would be Raisin Choir Girl. Is that I don't know. Levin Suspiria wants to know about Spawn and the Little Boy in the Village. Believe it or not, we are trying to get back to that, but it does the game that I made up lore will return at some point, but it does take a bit of thinking, because there was a lot of information that was lost in the move. Not really the move, but let's say the defenestration from the Adult Swim building premises. Oh, thank you, Giovanni H, for telling me about the lawyers and reminding me that I don't have to rush it. And then Joe Botnick said, and if you're looking at the chat, you could probably also read this here, but I like to read these out loud, because sometimes it takes a second to look at something, look at words on the screen, and then process it in a way where I can respond to it. But by the time it goes, that now I can't see what anything anybody said. D3 Tail, hey chat and Robbie. D3 Detail. Oh, that's fun. That's a good idea. With the threes. I guess you could have just had one. I guess that would have been Detail. absolutely having a great time already. Glad that you guys could join us for the Valentine's Day. Holy moly, would you believe it or not, we do have a hype train coming in, so let's quit the 6 to 7 out of 10 game reviews introduction, and let's go straight to the story of this evening, and it's a love story, as you can imagine, because it is, of course, the St. Valentine's Day story of the first St. Valentine's Day, I believe, and this was, of course, back in Russia. Russia's in the news a lot lately, and this is a story about Russia. But this is also a story of mostly of the Slavic peoples that came to that area of the Eurasian continent and settled there before Russia was itself a unified kingdom, then empire, then country, then a country, then empire, and then country again. And these were the Slavic people. The Slavic people were, of course, the party people. They loved a good party. They loved to throw down. People from all over the countries and kingdoms. There weren't really countries back then. I think that most people would agree that the idea of a nation state didn't really come around until the 18th century. And so the Slavic peoples were party people. This was around the 8th century AD. So the period between, I think that most people would say, was fraught with a lot of various wars in between different religious groups, whether it would be your classic European and Eurasian pagans, or your up and coming Christians. Vikings were obviously part of that, and this is this was a love story that involves a Viking woman and a Slavic farmer man. So let's hype the train and if you want to hear the end of this obviously very exciting story, because the Viking woman who was one of the rare Viking women captains of her own long ship had somehow traveled down one of those great rivers. There continues to be one of the rivers that now separates what I think most people would think of as the left side from the right side, and she had come down bearing gifts of tallow and various gemstones that her and her people had dug with their hands out of ice caves, and were very excited to go down and visit a slightly warmer place and party with the Slavs, and everyone was very excited. And her name, of course, was Angela, and Angela, the captain of was a captain of the longship, and she was lying on the front beam of the ship, which I guess you call kind of the pointy front part of the ship, and she was absolutely just sleeping and dreaming of the day that she would arrive on the shores of the Slavic, not really a town, I suppose the Slavic settlement, because she had a secret boyfriend that she wanted to see, and she hadn't seen for a very long time. No, she wasn't, even though the boat was chock full of gemstones and tallow. No, she was more excited to see her secret farmer boyfriend, who who farmed various hard roots and sold those roots to the bakers and the cooks and all of the people that would use the roots to create sauces and big pots big boiling pots of root soup, and they would once the soups were up to 100. Thank you for the 100s. Hype train keeps going. Once the soups once the soups and the sauces and the various tinctures that were made from the hard roots were being served to the people in this settlement, Angela and her boyfriend, her farmer boyfriend, whose name was Shostakovich, would run off into the fields, and they would have themselves just a heavy makeout session. Just Angela and Shostakovich just making out like crazy. They kept it to second base at all times, because there was certain beliefs in that time period about whether or not second base was as far as you could go, and not many people had realized at that stage in human history that you could go to third, fourth base and beyond. So everybody was all about second base back then. And On this particular journey, she was sleeping and daydreaming about Shostakovich, and she woke up and she saw Shostakovich looming in front of her over the boat. Shostakovich was in his farmer's outfit, which of course was a big brown kind of wool and straw smock, was just bearing down on her, and he was saying, Angela. He was trying to get Shostakovich was trying to get Angela, the spirit of Shostakovich was trying to get Angela to turn the boat around and head back up north. So Angela just says, just waking up from a crazy nap where she's just thinking about getting to second base with her boyfriend, and she blinks and waves her hand in front of her face because she feels like she's probably being attacked, because this doesn't the spirit of Shostakovich that she is seeing is of course translucent, and therefore is being being blown around by various air currents that are also the same air currents that are blowing the ship. So it doesn't look quite like Shostakovich, so she's not quite sure if that's what she's looking at, or if she should be taking what it's saying, what it's appearing to say or trying to say seriously, or if she should just wave it back and try to get to being back in the makeout dream again. Which of course is, if anybody's having makeout dreams on Valentine's Day, I'm sure you know that it's a good dream to have, and you might as well just keep it going, because why not? You could maybe just wake up in a much better mood than you were when you went to bed. Anyway, so she decides that it's not the real Shostakovich, and the boat keeps on going down the river, and it's one of these big, wide, hard, rushing rivers with lots of pointy rocks on the side. And another thing, the boat catches on something before they can get much farther, and a lot of people are like, well, we must have run aground. And her first, I guess they call it first mate. I guess you maybe like the vice president of the ship. The vice president of the ship, or the lieutenant governor of the ship, comes up to Angela and says, I think we've run into a great big beaver dam, so we're going to just get some of our they were slaves, but not in, I think, the way that we probably. Okay, so we all know at this point in history that the Vikings took a lot of slaves, but I just want to point out that this was not, of course, part of the cross-Atlantic, the Atlantic slave trade, which became such a big problem for so many of us, and continues to reverberate. The consequences thereof continue to reverberate throughout societies. Throughout Western societies to this day. No, these were just regular slaves that you would get when you would go to a town of people that were not as good at fighting as you, and you would just bash the town apart and just obliterate everybody, and you would take a few kind of good-looking, hardy-looking folks, and then you'd put them in the basement of your boat to paddle the boat in case you needed to go up against the stream, as opposed to going down the stream with the air currents. So they decide to get a few of the slaves out, and I just want to say that it's always complicated to say that one person was a better master of a better overseer of the people in their not employment, obviously, but you know what I'm trying to say. And Angela was I'm just going to say that Angela was one of the nicer ones. She certainly had her tough day, her rough days, and her bad days. And I think that if you were to, play with the whole notion of presentism, she probably wouldn't stand well besides some of our more sensitive and thoughtful people in society. But she was nice this was a good day, and most people were on the ship were very happy, except for the ones below deck who were never exactly happy. They were just sort of tired all the time. So, but the first lieutenant, the lieutenant governor of the first lieutenant, the first mate of the ship, whose name was Angelo, which is confusing. Angelo said to one of the beefier fellers that they had caught back on a raiding party when they had gone over to Britain, if that feller would go and clear out the big beaver dam on which the ship was caught. And, the language barriers being an issue, took a few minutes of back and forth. But then the guy just gets in the water. He says, what the hell? I know that's what they just want me to do, something in the water. And if I'm in the water, then I get to, clean off some of this sweat. Been working all day paddling these big-ass oars. And so wouldn't it be nice to get a little bit of a dip? And maybe if I'm doing a good job and having a good swim, then they'll let the other people swim too. Unfortunately for the big Briton, and let's just call him. I don't know if he, obviously it was different. The records are not clear back then, so it's hard to say what exactly this person's was. But I think they called him Mr. Bean, and that's who they thought he was. So they called him Mr. Bean. So Mr. Bean jumps into the water, and obviously, and the first thing he notices that we're already up to a hype train level. We've gotten past level 3, and now we're on level 4. My chat. Level 4 is. So we're on level 5. Oh, far out. Thank you for Vertical Mama. Thank you for everybody who's gifting and subbing and letting this this great story of romance continue. But we also have a bit. Unfortunately, because this is the age of. I would not say miracles, but it was the age of just really wild stuff happening, that this story is going to take a bit of a turn. So the turn is that Mr. Bean gets into water. He starts pressing against what he thinks is this beaver dam, or what he thinks is just an obstruction, and it starts grabbing him. It's not just. It feels like hard sticks. But then the hard sticks start to feel like they have little hairs, and those little hairs start wrapping around his feet. And then all of a sudden there's more and more hair, and the hair gets thicker and thicker, and all of a sudden Mr. Bean is toast. I mean, folks, he's gone. He's been sucked way down to the bottom of some sort of a thing. And it's not a deep beaver dam, and that's when everybody starts looking like, well, if there's this big ass beaver dam, there's got to be a lot of those suckers just like watching us go by, waiting for us to get out of the way, or maybe they're rushing out here with their little sticks and little leaves, and they're gonna fix the dam that we are busting up with our giant longship. No beavers, not a single one that you can see. So they send down another Briton. This guy is a little bit smaller than Mr. Bean, but he's still got he's got a hell of a personality, just a wonderful smile, and really lights up the room. Everyone likes this guy. He's pretty much, I would say, just a well-loved, well-respected, completely indentured oarsman on this longship. But he's the kind of guy that just sings a little song. He sings all the songs that he remembers when he was growing up in some sort of sex-crazed pagan village there in pre-Christian England. And he says to Angela, and he hasn't had much as language barrier because he's been a little bit more communicative than some of the other ones who are a little bit more dour. And he goes, and this guy, his name is Charlie, and he says to Angela, I've seen something like this back in my homeland, and I'm going to tell you straight up, Angela, and I'm not going to mince words here because I think that we're in a great deal of trouble. You're not on top of a beaver dam. You're on top of a giant, you're on top of a creature that we call a river. What's it called? A river skull. So it's a giant. You're on top of a giant river skull right now, and that means that there beneath us is the river skull's body, and the river skull is got its own head, and the head's going to pop up any second now, and it's going to start screaming. And once the river skull gets out of the water, and when I say skull, I don't mean the skull like what you or me have. No, sir, no, ma'am. I'm talking about just one of the biggest things you ever saw. Maybe just the size of the sails on the masts here. And this and then he's and well, if there's such a thing, Angela says, then what it looked like the thing that grabbed Mr. Bean was actually just some sort of hairy creature, so like a hair demon. In fact, says Charlie, the hair demon is definitely part of it. So every river skull has its own hair demon, and that hair demon is just a kind of a floaty. If you can imagine, like a big pancake, like a scallion pancake or a latke or something like that. It's like that. It's just that with like a big eye in the center, and just made up of hair that can harden and soften to create the illusion. We've completed level 5. We're on to level 6, folks. This is a great Valentine's Day for me so far. I can tell you right now that will be a wonderful thing to know that I could finally I could pay back the credit card that I used to take my wife to our very expensive. She says to me, she says, "You're taking me to lunch, and it's going to cost you, because if you're going to be streaming on Twitch all night, then it's going to cost you." And I'm going to say, well, we've got a level 6 hype train going on. We've got the hair demon. We've got the river skull, and we've got Angela, the first lieutenant, and everybody is just completely blown away that not so it's there. So Angela takes a step back, and she, hold on for a damn minute here. You're telling me there's not one thing down there, but there's 2 things down there, and it's not just. And well, it says, well, there's actually going to be 3. So Charlie says, and that's when Charlie says, whenever there's a river skull, whenever there's a hair demon, there's also going to be one of the handy boys, and the handy boys are what's really going to cause the most amount of trouble. And Angela just kicks her, just kind of kicks the. Stomps a couple times, because she's thinking, I in a couple of hours I was supposed to be just making out in the fields with my little farmer boyfriend, and now here I am about to like lock in combat with the river skull, hair demon, and the handy boys. And people forget what the handy boys were, but they were just a bunch of these wild and crazy boys who would just jump out of it, just jump out from behind of things and just start grabbing people. And sometimes it would be funny, and sometimes it would be a little irritating, and then sometimes, especially if they were in the presence of greater evils like the river skull or the hair demon, the handy boys were very pliant. Their souls were extremely flexible, so they could be mischievous and fun to be around, and they loved a good drink, and they love a good song. And a lot of times you'd see handy boys down in these Slavic little villages down there, and I guess that's not necessarily the river that they were on was closer to Ukraine, so it was what is now in Ukraine. But of course, the trouble that they're in right now, of course, is not beyond our comprehension when it comes to confusing sort of movements of the Slavic peoples between the landmass that would become Russia and the current borders of the Ukrainian nation state. So she says, Angela, when she hears the word handy boys, she stomps her feet because she's mad she's not going to be kissing tonight, and she pulls out both of her. She's got these giant curved swords that have been traded to her. Oh, wow, we're already up to another 100%. Thank you for Mail City for gifting tier 1 subs. Everybody's having a great time with the story tonight, and I'm having a great time telling it to you. I'm feeling the love. It's Valentine's Day. This is a big deal. I think this is a record for definitely a record for the 6 to 7 out of 10 game reviews story times. So thank you for Mail. Is that city or county, or what does the CTY stand for? If anybody could tell me that, just drop it in the chat, because it could be anything. It could be CTA. Makes me think of CTA, like the Chicago Transit Authority, the people that run the city. It is city. Thank you. Where was I? Okay, right. So she pulls out these curved swords, which of course had been brought to her by the various folks from what essentially became the Ottoman Empire, because the intellectuals and the kind of there's a lot of traveling coming from that part of the world at this time, because they were sort of in the aftermath of the fall of the Roman Empire. There was a lot of curiosity in that centrally located area. Which became your Turkey and Turkey or Armenia and Turkey and the other places that are nearby, and so they would send people out, and they would a lot of times they would just be kind of like people that would want to write about different places, and they would see all these dirty ass Europeans, and they want to know what the hell they were doing, and just try and see if they could figure out. If they could convince them to lance their boils every once in a while so they wouldn't die of infections that most of the folks that were living under the pre-Ottoman Arab kingdoms and Persian kingdoms, they just wanted to know, because they were like, there's all these people that are living up in this really cold, dirty part of the world, and apparently they're all nuts, and let's just go and check them out, and bring them some curved swords, which is how Angela got her double curved scimitars that she would then, and in no short order, the handy boys were jumping out of the river, and Angela was hacking them away. And she cut off their hands first, because you want to cut off the hands first, and then she stepped on the hands, because you got to crush the handy boys' hands. Because the hands grow more. If the hands aren't fully obliterated, if they're not ground down into paste, or if they're not burnt in a big pyre, then the handy boys will grow. The hands of the handy boys will grow more handy boys. And if you picture a handy boy, you gotta just picture just like your regular kind of laddie boy. Just a fun-loving wild. Like, have you ever been to Boston and during like a Bruins game, and you see some just Boston laddie guy just running down the street with his shirt off? That's kind of what the handy boys were looking like. Just a general vibe of just out of control enjoyment of life. But of course, the difference between the handy boys of this sort of Dark Ages period and modern day Bruins fans is that the handy boys did not wear Bruins jerseys or sweatpants. So she's chopping, she's stomping. Her first lieutenant is completely overwhelmed. He's grabbed to death in front of her eyes, and this is, of course, a very. She screams, "You were like a. I just want you to know." She screams to him as he's just being grabbed to death that you were always like a father to me, and I'll shout your name I'll shout your name on this day every year from here on, because this is the day that I saw you die. Very tragic, and of course, while Angela's doing a great job with her double scimitars, the handy boys have made their way down into the basement of the boat and have unfortunately grabbed all of her oarsmen and slaves to death as well. So she's the last person standing on this boat. She jumps into the water, jumps right into the hair demon, which is just a terrible feeling, because if you've ever just been whipped around with wet hair, if you've ever been grabbed by just a long lock of wet hair and it's just wrapped around your legs and whipped you up and down and maybe slammed you on the ceiling or slammed you thrown you into a trash can, well, that's kind of like what Angela's feeling, but it's just water. And of course, she's not also. It's sort of like Catherine Thundergloss's Bayonetta, and it's kind of like reverse Bayonetta, I guess, because the hair Bayonetta is, of course, a very powerful woman, and unfortunately, we were able to get to. Is that the end of the hype train? Well, I'll try to follow the rules as best as I can, but I just want to say that she makes it away from she does make it past the hair demon, because the scimitars, and it turns out the River Skull is a good guy. So it ended up being for at least this section of this act of the story that she's going to be okay. Yes. It's not a twist. It's not a spoiler. I just want to say that if we ever got back to there, that's where it would take us. So happy Valentine's Day and happy EGI2 6 to 7 out of 10 game review 6. Very happy to be here with our 6 to 7 out of 10. We had a request. Oh wait, Robbie, have you ever heard of Tayer's Quest from the Dragon Slayer Peak? Tayer's Quest? Heard of Space Quest? Or no, Space Ace. Somebody's clapping. Tayer's Quest? It's called Tayer's Quest? Good Lord. All right. So we've already had a great start to the evening, and I'm very happy to be to telling everybody about our. Let's just dive right into the what is our favorite animal of all time? Manatee, obviously. So let's dive right into our first 6 to 7 out of 10 games tonight. We're going to be doing 2 tonight, as requested a couple weeks ago by someone who I said I wanted to try and just do 1 a night, and someone said you should try to do 2, and I said, well, I'll do 1 next week, and that was last week, and then 1 the week after that, which turns out to be this week, which is Valentine's Day. And so I thought it's Valentine's Day. There's got to be good couples games, and I thought, what a better couple to explore? What better 6 to 7 out of 10 couple than Kane and Lynch?
I remember my dad's eyes as kind. Yesterday, I met him for the first time in years. He's changed. These men say they can stop my father. But I've seen what he and that medicated psychopath are capable of. I just hope they kill him.
So Kane and Lynch is a third-person action game where a pair of death row inmates, a mercenary named Kane and a schizophrenic named Lynch, escape during a prison transport and retrieve a stolen fortune. It's a third-person shooter developed by, of course, IO Interactive, the people behind the Hitman games that you saw there. Published by Eidos, the people that made Tomb Raider. They also published Akuji, we got a phone call already. Let's go to the phones real fast and let's see what people are saying about Kane and Lynch. Hello, caller. You're on the air with EGI2. What are your thoughts on Kane and Lynch? Who are you? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Robbie. It's Joe Botnick here.
Joe Botnick is in the chat, folks. It's Joe Botnick. He's back from his own Valentine's Day. Or I guess it's not Valentine's Day there anymore.
It's not anymore, no.
Did you do anything for Valentine's Day?
I didn't, but I have plans for today instead. So it's going to be kind of like a belated kind of Valentine's situation.
All right. Well, that sounds great. Now, what are your thoughts, Joe, on Kane and Lynch? Dead Men.
I like Kane and Lynch. I'm glad that the game's being covered today. I think this came out after Hitman Blood Money.
It did come out. Yeah, it was sort of people, and it was sort of them being like, well, we kind of hit the nail on the head with these last 2 Hitman games. Let's see if we can't expand our sort of dark and violent. I actually think I live next to that market. I live around the corner from that marketplace.
No, you go where I go.
This probably takes place in LA. Does this take place in LA? You played the Kane and Lynch Dead Men?
I did do the first game, actually. I didn't play the second one. I think it takes place in a variety of locations, but maybe LA is one of them. I know they're in Tokyo at one point. but that's definitely not Tokyo.
It's definitely not Tokyo. It looks like a strip mall, just any old strip mall you might see if you're just driving down Broadway or Olympic Boulevard, anywhere in Midtown LA.
Yeah, but I've got good memories of this game. I have a soft spot for games with like a bad ending. Obviously, I don't want to spoil anything, but there are 2 endings to this game, and I really like the games that kind of explore the darker side when things don't quite go your way, and nothing really goes Kane and Lynch's way in this game.
So you're attracted to it because it's a reflection. It's a reflection of life in a sort of a way. Like you make all these plans. You sort of try to you build up all these arsenals and get all these groups of people together and throw yourself at a problem. And a lot of times it just doesn't work out the way you want it to.
Exactly. It's very realistic in that sense. It's very gritty and dirty, and it's not the idealized look at life that you get from a lot of video games.
Well, what kind of idealized situation are you looking to accomplish when you put all your let's just say put all your machine guns into a single bag, get all your buddies together and go out to do some real harm to a problem? Well,
I'm obviously hoping to rescue my daughter, but also get out with my soul intact, and that's. That sometimes it doesn't play out that way. Life isn't as cut and dry as that. Sometimes you just want to get on the plane.
Yeah, so you're on your way. So you're on your way to work tomorrow morning. You're thinking to yourself, God, I hope I get my daughter out of this situation and with my soul intact.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But it's not that easy. But you like to hope.
Well, what's the worst that could happen?
The worst that could happen is. Like
your hands are shaking.
If you do
Thought
just
you
get on
sobered
the plane,
up. I did.
Then you're abandoning
really
your morals, and maybe your daughter's just gonna hate you. Maybe you abandon your friends and colleagues just to accomplish this one goal, and you're compromising, and you don't want to compromise.
Maybe you stop at a Pret-a-Manger instead of going to like the local mom and pop store for your morning breakfast, and your daughter sees that and she says, "You're not the dad I knew."
Exactly. Like it's just sad. You gotta be your best self.
Well, in terms of the 6 to 7 out of 10 game reviews, Joe, I'm gonna keep you on the line for a little bit longer because I do want to get your thoughts here. Graphics. We have our first thing that we got to consider the graphics of Cave and Lynch 2, and since you are someone who is more familiar with the game, I'd like to get your thoughts on the graphics.
What are you saying? Are you there?
They're good. I feel like Blood Money is quite a nice looking game.
Now this is we're going to talk about. We're not talking about Blood Money. We're not talking about any of the Hitman games. We're talking about Kane and Lynch, Dead Men.
Yeah, but it's got a kind of similar kind of vibe to it. But Kane and Lynch is much grittier and kind of got a kind of grindhousey feel to the aesthetics. And,
you think the first one does?
Yeah, I mean obviously 2 is much dirtier from what I've seen of it, but the first one it looks good. It looks nice, and it looks very down to earth and grimy.
Get back in the van.
If you were to squint your eyes and you were going to tell me that this is one of the first Xbox 360 games, I would believe you. It's got kind of that kind of bland, kind of brown, gray, and off color green vibe to it. And of course, we are reviewing this on the Xbox 360. This is not the This is as far as I know, this is not the PlayStation 3 version.
I guess hindsight is 2020, and I look back at that time when all the player character models were smooth, and there was a limited color palette, and it's kind of got its own charm to it now. Obviously, it's not at the time it was not great, but looking back on it, there's a simplicity to it that I appreciate. There's a simple charm.
It makes you think, we're going back to all these, you got all these games coming out that look like old PlayStation 1 games or old N64 games. Like they keep they kind of blur the anti-aliasing, or they just keep, or they amp up they make the resolution go crazy, and they've got all these chunky edges and all these flat shaded polygons and what have you.
Mm.
I wonder if we'll have a similar retro rebirth of this type of game, which is, you know, like you said, has a weird kind of charm. Like the physics don't quite look right. Kind of looks like there's a little bit of a, the tires on those cars there. They don't look like they're quite touching the road. You know what I'm trying to talk about?
Yeah, I think we will. I think as time goes on, we're going to be looking back at games that look like this, much as we do, you know, the old pixelated games of yore. You know, as technology progresses, Xbox 360 games are going to be, you know, they're going to be like indie things. People
Absolutely.
are just going to be making these things and cranking them out, and because they grew up with them and they want to see more stuff like that.
I mean, this looks like almost like a Dreamcast game to me in some ways.
I can see that, sure.
Well, Joe Botnick, is that a yes or a no for the graphics on your end? And let's hear what chat has to say as well.
I'm gonna say yes, but I would understand people saying no. But like I said, it's got that old charm to it, where you need to appreciate the fact that the graphics are bad, but that's good.
So we got a yes. We got a yes from Joe Botnick. Yes from Eraserhead Baby. We've got a lot of yeses. I don't see any yes. Only see yeses. And I've changed things up a little bit here on my little button board, let's call it. And so I have one button for yes and one button for no. And let's just want to make sure that's yes, that's no. So yes. But looking like we're seeing it has graphics. Everyone's saying it's got graphics. So Joe Botnick, we got a yes. And let's lock it in. It's a yes. All right, thank you for your call, Joe, and happy Valentine's Day to you and all of everyone you've ever loved.
Thanks, Robbie. Happy Valentine's Day.
Bye-bye. Well, that was Joe Botnick from the UK. Oh, we got another call coming in already. Caller, you're on the line with EGI2, 6 to 7 out of 10 game reviews 6. We're talking about Kanan Lynch. Who are you? Where you're calling from? What are your thoughts?
This is Cody Fancy Pants.
Cody Fancy Pants, Cody from Florida. We had another name for you at one point. Were you the hitman?
Hey, Cody. Was I what?
We cut an EGI2 stream 10, I think it was. We said that person. We gave that person's nickname the Hitman.
Oh, I don't recall that at all. I don't think that was me.
Oh, Mossy Lump says it was James. James Trevor are hardworking and an unseen, mysterious power that keeps the stream going and running well when we do the numbered streams from the Luke Man's garage, and we gave him the nickname Jimmy the Hitman Trevor.
Yeah.
So Cody, what are your thoughts on Game and Kanan Lynch on this Valentine's Day?
I haven't. I never played Kanan Lynch 1. I did download Kanan Lynch 2 back in my Xbox 360 days. You want to talk about that?
We'll talk about that eventually because we are doing both games tonight. But we're starting with Kanan Lynch 1 because it's obviously the first game in the series, and then Kanan Lynch 2 is the second game in the series.
Well, I would love to call back when we're talking about Kanan Lynch 2. I can only assume that they're like more well-adjusted in Kanan Lynch 1 because they were pretty unhinged in Kanan Lynch 2.
You're looking at this. You're seeing this kind of a situation that we've got on screen at this moment. And you're thinking like that's
what's the deal?
something I
You
can
just
deal
get
with.
violent now and then? It's a little
That's
more
more
complicated
grounded
than
than
that.
what we're
No
dealing
shit.
with in Kanan
I get
Lynch 2.
blackouts,
Spoiler.
lose control. I don't know. Sometimes it just
All right.
clicks.
Well, Cody,
Jesus
call back.
Christ.
I'll
What do
see
you
if
care?
I can't
We got
find
with
you
the
in the
7-1. Let's
the
just
phone.
get it back to him.
Phone.
It wasn't all there.
I'll see
You
if I
gotta be
can't
shitting
identify
me.
your phone number
Driver,
from
can you get
the
us
area
off the
code,
road?
which I now I'm gonna
I
make a
can't
mental
believe
note
we
of
didn't
in
get
my
it.
mind.
Coral area code.
It's a what?
Thank you, Robbie.
Thank you, Cody.
Hey, Coral area code.
Stay safe. Happy Valentine's Day to you and everyone you've ever loved. And we got our graphics poll up. Graphics say yes. And next up, we've got I believe we've got sound. So we do have a little bit of sound going. I'm going to be a little bit quiet, but hopefully you'll be able to hear some of the sound coming from the gameplay footage. It's been turned down quite slightly. Not slightly. What's the opposite of slightly? Significantly. so as not to
Shit, it's leaking gas.
irritate us.
We gotta move.
What about the others?
Leave them. Nothing we can
Just
do.
open Photoshop accidentally.
Get down to the tracks.
And I'm closing. And if you're just joining us, I'm closing all of the tabs in Photoshop that I had open, which is how I made all of the little slideshow cards that we're going to be looking at this evening. A lot more open than I realized. Okay, and we're back from closing Photoshop successfully, and we've talked to Cody, we've talked to Joe Botnick. We do have a let's see what people are saying about the sound in the first Kane and Lynch game. So we're leaning to a yes on sound. Our poll's going up. I'm going to go ahead and I can vote too. How about that? Unbelievable. No sound. Oh my God. So Detail says no to sound. This might be our first time that we've gotten a no this evening. So I'm very excited to see if people can't somehow give us a no for sound, because that would be quite a blow to the 6 to 7 out of 10 game reviews rubric. What is no? Mossy Lump says, "What does no to sound entail?" We don't have. I was just saying. I said the word rubric because we do have a rubric for scoring, but I don't actually have a sub rubric. I guess if it's sort of whatever the rubric for the rubric, we don't have that. So it just goes entirely on what's in your soul, what's in your heart. If your heart's been shriveled up by what you're seeing and or hearing, maybe you're not hearing anything. Maybe you've just blotted out maybe you've blotted it all out. Looks like sound gets a yes. So let's go ahead and give sound the yes. Kane and Lynch, Deadman is not looking too bad here on EGI2 6 to 7 out of 10 game reviews. 6 Kane and Lynch Deadman and Kane and Lynch Dog Days. And Dog Day. Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days. So the reason that one of the things that always that's sticking to me. One of the things that's sticking out to me in these this first Kane and Lynch footage is just like the amount of sequences.
Our office is down the back.
They took
do your
what
best
they were
to
learning from
blend
the
in.
Hitman game, and they decided
Finds
to
out
amp it
I'm
up a
here.
little bit. They
It's gonna be
decided
hell
to
getting
see
to
if they could press it into the sort of cinematic storytelling aspects
Lynch,
of
we've been through this conversation over and over again.
underworld
Just stick to the plan.
the IO Interactive, IDO subcontractors. Hello, caller, you're on the air with EGI 2, 6 to 7 out of 10 game reviews. 6, who are you and where are you calling from?
My name is Tony from Walmart.
Tony from Walmart? You're calling from a Walmart?
Big fan of you running back on Adult Swim.
Oh, well, thank you for calling Tony from Walmart. Hopefully you're calling from a Walmart. Either if you're working at the Walmart, you're on break, and if you're not working at the Walmart, you've just found a comfortable chair, maybe in a furniture area of the store. Maybe it's one of those Walmarts that has a cafe or a nice size McDonald's or Hardee's or somewhats.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like that, yeah.
What are your thoughts about Kane and Lynch Dead Men?
Does my father know you're here?
You know, I'm
pretty
gonna have
sure he
to. It's
doesn't.
not that great.
Here we go.
You know.
So,
You're saying,
What
and
made you
you're
come
saying it's not that
crawling
great. Are
back?
you saying that in your opinion, Tony from Walmart, that you are of the mind that this could even be falling for you below that 6 to 7 out of 10 threshold?
Yes, sir.
Oh my. Okay, so count up from 1 to 6 for me.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, so where in those numbers do you think you're going to fall with Kane and Lynch?
A solid 2.
Solid 2, a 2 out of 10. That sounds. And so we're just right now, Tony. I just want to remind you that we're just talking about sound. So the chat has given a significant win to the sound here on EGI 2 6 to 7 out of 10 game reviews. 6, Kane and Lynch Dead Men and Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days. So, but you're giving it if you're giving it a 2 out of 10 overall. Where are you at it on sound?
Well, I mean, it's like very loud. It's noisy. I mean, some of it seems like it's like stock sound. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
They were definitely like lazy on that, you know.
And look at the screen here is just absolutely annihilating random people in the club.
Now, does voices count for sound? you would say?
Voices count for sound, sound effects count for sound, music counts for sound. Anything that is audible in Kane and Lynch
Right.
Dead
So the
Men.
dialogue is a little too edgy for me, and I think that definitely negatively impacts the score.
Edgy in the sense that you're like you're if you're putting it okay. So let me get inside of Tony from Walmart's brain a little bit here. So you're getting off your shift wherever you work at. If you're I don't. Did you say you worked at the Walmart? You work at a factory or a hospital? Where do you work?
Walmart.
Walmart. So you get off at Walmart. It's been a tough shift. People are absolutely just driving you nuts. And you get home and you put your feet up and you says, I want to play something that's going to take me away. It's going to bring me some joy after a rough and tumble kind of day that like I've had. So you turn on, you say, oh, I heard about, and everybody's been talking about Kane and Lynch Dead Men. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this sucker in and see if that can't transport me to a different kind of a world where I feel like things are going A-okay. And you pop it in, and the first thing you hear is people cursing and shooting random people in the club and doing all sorts of dealing drugs and stealing items and just being absolutely just a force of chaos in a society that's already got its share of problems. And you're saying to me right now, what I'm hearing from you, Tony, is that you're not having any of it. Toss it in the trash. Give me Super Mario Galaxy 2. Any time of the day, a remastered version of Super Mario Galaxy 2 on the Nintendo Switch. I'll pay full price, $60, and let that take me away.
I would say you were 100% correct on that.
So that's a no. So make sure. And Tony from the Walmart, I'm going to let you go in a second because we do have another call coming in. But I just want to make sure you make a case in the chat for yourself, because I think that this is a pretty engaging perspective that could turn the tide against Kane and Lynch Dog Days. Dead men.
I'll try
Dead
my
men.
best.
There's two men.
Yeah, two guys.
Two guys, two men. They're both dead, and yet here they are, just going nuts, blasting people away at the club. Something's happened on the screen here. Oh, one of them died. Well, thank you for your call, Tony. I got another call coming in, and hope to talk to you soon. Caller, you're on the air with EDI2 6 to 7 out of 10 game reviews 6. We're talking about Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days. Who are you? Where are you calling from? And what are your thoughts?
Oh, yeah, this is Soda from East Carolina. They didn't tell you about that one. You'll figure it out soon.
Soda from East Carolina?
Yeah, you'll figure it out. It's a new one.
It's one of the new ones.
Yeah.
So what do they call it? The barrier, the shoreline,
It's kind of like the demilitarized zone between the North and South Carolina. You know, it's dangerous. Trust me.
It's dangerous. It's not. People are crazy there, is what you're saying. People are going in the same. So you're seeing a reflection, perhaps, of your own situation in East Carolina in Kane and Lynch Dead Men.
Yes, it is exactly like Kane and Lynch Dead Men. They're the crazy guys. They're coming for me. They're crazy.
So listen. All right. So the crazy guys are coming for you. There's only one thing that you can do. And this is something that I had a stepfather who passed a couple of years ago, and he was the kind of guy. He was a criminal defense lawyer, and he says you just gotta just kind of slowly back away and get your revolver that you keep in the back part of your pants, and just keep your hand on it, and get ready to pull it out. But don't be the first one to move, because you can't outdraw crazy.
That's true. That's true. You know, Agent 47.
Absolutely, and they decided rather than continue doing what the things that they had been doing about the life and the world of the hitman and the subculture in which Agent 47 and all, I suspect numerous other agents with numbers attached to their name agent, that there were. Rather than spending more time learning about that, they decided to ditch that world and go to the world of heists. They're just kind of your Michael Mann Heat style of heist world, which has been well trod on, I think, at this point in terms of cinematic storylines. I lost my train of thought.
I feel you. I get you. I know how it is, Robbie. In Canaan Lynch 2, or Canaan, I don't know my mind. Canaan Lynch Dead Man is a lot like, Payday the Heist, the first one, if you know that one, and, Hitman Blood Money had a baby, and that baby was a little bit stank, but we like it. That's how I view it.
Just get a grip. We
But
have
you're
to
talking
get a
about
hold of her.
how East Carolina these days is just an absolute hellhole of a situation. What is a society? I guess you're kind of in a society. Are you in a society?
This will be all over this place.
East Carolina?
I think it's kind of like a society. It's mostly horse-bound bandits. So, it's a couple of little towns.
So you're sort of out. You've been towed. You're saying you're kind of been towed out of the society.
Yeah, the society tried to come in, but then the bandits and the ghosts they kind of get rid of that.
Well, terrible news. I'm so sorry, but hopefully that you were able to find some joy on this most joyous of holidays, St. Valentine's Day. And despite all of the carnage to which you must escape on a daily basis, like a rat escaping a flood in the sewers, that you were able to find someone to still give you a little bit of a kiss.
I will get that. I will try and get a little kiss just to make me feel better.
All right. Thanks, Soda, and stay safe and happy Valentine's Day. Next up, we've got on the slideshow of the scoring slideshow, we had a yes for sound. And we have next up the big question. This is a question for me, and I've rolled this into a bit of a discussion of the story and the writing for Canaan Lynch. For this particular, because I wanted to kind of make things keep things a little bit brief. I thought we'd look at the story and writing for the game in video form, and then talk about whether or not we think that the people that made the game were good people.
Sure you did. Hey, don't get me wrong, Kane. I'm fucking thrilled it turned out this way.
I just need a little more time. You don't have to involve my family. They don't even know me.
Kane, stop. I can't listen to your pathetic excuses anymore. You failed. That's all there is to it.
Carlos, help me here.
There's nothing I could do for them.
That's a fucking lie.
I'll see to it that they get buried somewhere nice. Goodbye, old friend.
Wait. You're leaving?
We're flying to Havana tonight. It's already begun. Mute will take it from here. Your family will be here in an hour.
Do I get to talk to them?
Of course you do.
Yeah, like you can fucking believe that.
Fucking.
So, of course, you're taking a look at the little glimpse of the story and the writing in the Canaan Lynch Dead Man. And we have now we have to talk about, of course. Good Lord, we have to talk about the elephant in the room, which, of course, is the controversy surrounding the GameSpot score of Canaan Lynch Dog Days that came out came along when the game came out, and that score caused the GameSpot's reviewer Jeff Gerstmann at the time to be fired because Eidos, the people that published Canaan Lynch Dead Men, had threatened to pull back advertising on GameSpot's website if they didn't give their what they believed to be a tentpole AAA action title a closer look is what I think the actual language was. And so Jeff Gerstmann, being of sound mind and of some moral character, I don't know the man well. I've only read stories about this firing through a third person lens, and so I believe that he was correct. I believe this is a 6 to 7 out of 10 game, and that his leaving so and keeping his editorial integrity intact was the right thing to do. And now I believe that GameSpot, he started a second company, and then He started Giant Bomb, and then I think GameSpot bought Giant Bomb, but by that time GameSpot was run by different editors, and then those editors were able to clarify for the public that yes, in fact, he was fired because of IDOS. So what I'm trying to say is that IDOS, despite this kind of nasty bit of business that they had pulled with Jeff over at GameSpot, was unfortunate, was dirty play, and not the kind of and the kind of thing that would make me say, yes, these are bad people. But I would say that IO Interactive weren't the ones to have threatened to pull the advertising from GameSpot, and so people, what? Somebody. Mail City gifted a tier 1 sub to Jeff Gerstmann? Is Jeff Gerstmann here? How does that work? I don't understand a damn thing about how Twitch works yet. So the point of the matter is that I keep in mind that IO Interactive are the people that made the game and not IDOS, the people that got Jeff Gerstmann fired from GameSpot back in 2006 or 7. 2006 is interesting. Okay, so let's go to the phone lines and see what people are saying about whether or not the people that made Kane and Lynch Dead Men are good people. So if you get a chance to call in, do so. I'm just going to go ahead while we're waiting for the phones to ring a little bit. I'm going to take a look at the chat here and see what people are saying. We've got someone said that's funny video game news. I guess it's kind of funny. You're talking about how I was saying because it came out in either 2006 or 2007, and we're talking about as if it's a 6 to 7 out of 10 game. Post Bunny says, we love you so much. We love you too. And we being the family that creates the EGI2 general family, we love all the people that are here. We love all the chatters, but we got to know, are the people that made Kane and Lynch 2 Kane and Lynch Dead Men good people? Caller, you're on the air with EGI. Caller, you're on the air with, sorry about that. I accidentally hung up on someone. Caller, you're on the air with EGI. 6 to 7 out of 10 EGI2 6 to 7 out of 10 game reviews. What are your thoughts? Who are you? Where are you calling from? What are your thoughts?
Hi, this is Sandwich from Portland.
Sandwich from Portland. Great to hear your voice. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good Valentine's Day. What are your thoughts?
So I actually had this part of the reviews in the last 6 to 7 out of 10 reviews, and on a related note, I don't think that the developers are necessarily bad people if the publishers are bad. Sometimes you work on a game and you don't really have a say in how the game gets published. And so a lot of people that are very passionate about video games end up working
Not much.
for
It's pretty dark.
a
Just
morally
keep looking.
dubious company, because they
Keep
love
calm, Lynch.
The fuck you mean by that?
they love working in video games, and there just isn't a whole lot of opportunity.
Get some fire over there.
Got it.
Take him
Well,
down.
I think that's a very thoughtful approach, but at the same time, I'm looking at this game and
Stay
they're
here.
using
I'll do the
the
talking.
brown word. They're using all sorts of cursing. They're
It's all
shooting
right.
civilians in nightclubs, and it once makes me wonder the mind that it takes to come up with some of these scenarios. Is that are we so past the point of no return when it comes to our souls that we can make such horror and still retain the goodness in our hearts?
I think that's an interesting point to make. Likewise, I also think that it's possible to create bad characters and not be bad people yourself. It does say something if you only want to look at bad characters. Maybe it's that you can't see the goodness in people's hearts, so you just want to consume content full of bad characters because it just, confirms your worldview. And again, that doesn't necessarily mean anything about the developers themselves. As a whole, I can't say I could say that a lot of them are bad people.
Hey!
But
At a motel,
if
go!
I had to give developers as a whole,
Lynch, there are snipers everywhere. I need you to handle it for me. Grab the rifle.
We can't see shit
I
up
would
here. Help me
say-
out.
I'm trying.
They're over there.
There's the brown
On my
rifle.
side.
neutral. I'd say neutral.
Neutral. Not neither a yes or a no. Unfortunately, we don't have a neutral button, but I think that's a very interesting perspective. And I will say that I try to picture the group of people that made Kane and Lynch Deadman. I try to picture what they're doing when during their crunch time. Maybe they've had like a long day. The game is going to be coming out imminently, and I try to picture the level designer or perhaps one of the writers strolling outside, and right in front of the game studio is a place that sells ice cream, and next to that is a place that sells cigarettes and pornography. And without making any judgments there, I try to picture: is the person going to go for the ice cream, for the good stuff, for a little bit of the sugar bump, or are they going to go for the other stuff and fall deeper and deeper into sin and mire?
I think maybe the programmers would go to the cigarette shop. Maybe the sound designers would go to the ice cream shop.
All right, I like that. So you're Sandwich, one of the things that I like most about what you're saying here is that you're giving it a keen eye, you're giving it a lot of thought, and you're not saying you're saying in some ways that you could be the kind of person who gets porn and cigarettes at the end of a long day, but you could still might end up being not a terrible person.
Yeah.
All right. That's great to have you on, and we're gonna hang up on you and switch to another call. But happy Valentine's Day, Sandwich.
Happy Valentine's Day. Bye.
Bye. Oh, they left. Dang it. Well, so do we have while we're waiting for, hopefully that person calls back, but while we're waiting, should we go ahead and give the good people award, or good people, should we say it's a yes or a no? Or should we just ignore it? Or should we just ignore it and just go to, oh, here it is. Okay. Caller, you're on the air with EGI 2, 6 to 7 out of 10 game reviews. 6. Call of. Who are you? Where are you calling from?
This is Sandwich again.
Oh, Sandwich.
Was I supposed to say yes or no?
Oh no. I think you had a non-committal thing, which we were saying might be also a perfectly acceptable answer here. We don't have a special button for it, but maybe in future we'll have that.
Okay.
All right. Bye, Sandwich.
Bye, Sandwich.
Back to you, Sandwich. Caller, you're on the air with EGI 2, 6 to 7 out of 10 game reviews. Who are you? Where are you calling from? What are your thoughts on the good people? On if the people that made Kane and Lynch Deadman are in fact good people?
Hey, Robbie, it's Gio.
Gio.
I heard you caught yourself calling them good people, which is kind of answering the question right up front.
Well, I did make that mistake. I'm kind of with Sandwich a little bit in the hopes that I think that it's clear, a good deal of work went into the game, and there are some interesting elements to it. I will say that it's not a great game, and but I wouldn't say that it's as far down as what the caller previous was saying, where it's 2 out of 10. I do think that's a bit low. The physics are just, look at that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a bad game. I don't know if it's a bad game, but I am going to say that for the question, if we're saying, based on the game, based on just the game, do the developers seem like good people? I'm going to have to go with a no.
You're going with a no.
This is kind of a dirty, grimy Hitman kind of game. These are people who are going to go to the store for cigarettes and pornography, and if you ask them about it, they're going to call it method acting. They're going to call it getting into the role.
Oh Lord!
But their heads are kind of in that space, I think. Now maybe they are good people. I don't know for sure. But if my only evidence is the game, if we're basing this off Canyon Lynch.
Get the
Holy
brief.
Dead Men.
Don't you understand? It's
I have to
gone.
think.
We're out of
See, I
time.
know on good people. Are you gonna?
Call me.
Does someone? Do I have the power to do this? Let me see if I can throw a poll.
I don't know if that kills the score. Because like for a game like this, maybe you get a little bit more out of it. Having some of that dirt mixed in with it. I don't know. I think if you have like a pure heart and soul, maybe you don't make this. Maybe you go make a Kirby game. This feels like it attracts some of that rough, some of that like Spawn.
Gio, I gotta tell you, someone was able to throw up a poll here. I was unable to do it. I can't figure this dashboard out for the life of me when I'm doing it. I gotta spend some time getting used to the slash commands in Twitch, the Twitch chat. But people are going for neutral on this. What do you think about that?
I think neutral's fair. I mean, again, you get very little information. You kind of have to make a guess. There's only so much that comes through in the game. I think somebody in the chat said feels like it comes from a real place. I agree. I feel like the dirt and the grit and just sort of exploring this world of sin and vice and criminality. It comes from
Gio, you just said something that kind of put a bug in my ear, and I'll say there's two things I want to say. The first thing is that I look at this game and I think these people saw the movie Heat and said we should do that. Okay, and they absolutely from what I've seen of this gameplay footage, the gameplay has been going on for a long time. The whole damn game looks like the movie Heat in one way or the other.
I think I've only ever seen Canyon Lynch 2 Dog Days, but that's the same people, I think, right?
It's some of the same people. I think it's a bit of a shake-up to the style, and we will get to that a little bit. But I'm talking in terms of Canyon Lynch Dead Men, because it is so much like, because it refers so specifically in my mind to these kinds of these big like shoot 'em up heist movies. Ooh, neutral has won in the chat poll. This just in, breaking news. We don't have a breaking news button, of course, and we have to notice that. But when you like something so much that you decide to put everything aside, to put your Hitman universe aside, to make something that is a homage to the thing that you really like, that's kind of that comes from a true place. That comes from an honest place.
Yeah, I mean, I see like honesty, I see integrity in it, but I like your ice cream store. I like your ice cream store question, and I feel like you have the truth. Again, it's like Spawn, which I watched the entire series of after hearing you talk about it.
Which one?
Where you have Spawn,
the animated Spawn, the Keith David Spawn,
the animated one, yeah, and the movie. And you have that feeling where you have integrity and you have some pureness of character, but you do also have that rubbing against, some darkness and some grit.
Well, I think a lot of the extra. I think it takes a lot of the Spawn TV show, this animated show. I do believe suffered somewhat from being on HBO. In that, obviously, there's a lot of stuff they couldn't do if it wasn't on HBO. But I think that HBO always has the tendency to kind of press things a little bit too far. I'll give you an example of what I think about this. I remember watching episodes of Boardwalk Empire, Game of Thrones, and one other show back to back once, and each one of them had a shot of somebody's head getting smashed. A gruesome close-up shot of just someone's just head and skull and all the gore that came out of it. And I says to myself, they just hired somebody who's really good at making head-smashing effects, and then they just force all these head-smashing scenes in all these shows.
I think if you're working at HBO and you've got a head-smashing guy, I think you got to be crazy not to take advantage of the head-smashing guy.
I mean, we could only be so lucky if we all knew at least one person who could just show up one day and just create a very realistic looking, just decimated human head.
And I feel like that's the kind of thing they want to do in Canyon Lynch. I think like maybe the early Xbox 360 technique is holding them back a bit from that. I know Dog Days has a little bit more of that grit and more of that head smashing.
You fucking lying traitors! You promised!
Not to get ahead.
But it has
a bunch of naked people, I think.
What did you say?
Kane Lynch 2 has a bunch of nudity, I think.
Before that.
More graphic.
You said not to get ahead.
Yeah, not to get... Oh, yeah. Not to get ahead.
That was a pun.
It's funny video game. Not quite new, but it's funny video game.
Wait. Should I make a... wait a minute. No, that's punny video game news.
Punny video game news.
All right. Writing it down. Gio, you are heaven sent on this Valentine's Day, I must say.
Well, I'm glad to be here. I have a bit of a sore throat.
All right.
My voice, so I haven't been seeing people, but I am happy to be here on EGI.
So your thought. So while you're on the phone here, just go ahead and say, does it seems like good people, or are we giving it a neutral?
I'm okay with the neutral. I feel like I have to make the counter argument. I don't want to. I feel like the publishers being real crooked makes them look a little bit better, and I don't want to do a knee jerk. I'm okay with neutral.
All right, I think, folks, it looks like we're doing. This is the first time. This has never been done on EGI 2 6 to 7 out of 10 game reviews since we started doing the thing where we say something as what says a game. Since we say a game has graphics, sound, what have you. Did I miss the controls?
I think doesn't that come up?
Did we do that?
I don't remember the order.
Oh, that's for the other one. Oh, there it is. So should we do a yes for controls?
Controls, Xbox, looks good to me.
All right, good. Take care. Gargle with some salt water, or put some honey in put some honey in some warm milk, I guess. Whatever you want to do. All right, thank you for your call, and we are Joe Botnick said, is something wrong with the sound and the yes and no's buttons? Is that making everyone really unhappy, and I should stop having those? Oh, for me, it's not a bit. What does that mean? I did actually pay a little bit of the first, but barely even talked about it. Okay, it is so loud. Joe Botnick says, "I'm so sorry. I thought I turned that way down. Oh, good golly, I can't get those levels on these things right. This is why we always have a little bit of a sound set up in the streams in the numbered streams, because we have more people that know how sound works, and it's just little old me just sitting here trying to make joke graphics all day long. So unfortunately, I haven't gotten around to becoming a better sound designer, and I thought that I had turned that sound way down, but unfortunately it was not. That was the story, and the story continues with our 6 to 7 out of 10 game review score. Let's go ahead and give it a score here. People are saying, I want to know where we're gonna land on this 6 to 7 out of 10 thing, because we've got to give it a score, and we're halfway through, we've just gotten through 4.0. EGI2 watcher says 4.8. That's quite low. Gio says 6.4, 4.8, 6.4. Someone says email. Email's too loud. This is too loud too. Caller, you're on the air with EGI2 6 to 7 out of 10 game reviews 6. Who are you? Where are you calling from? What are your thoughts? And is the score thing too loud now? Wait, who from California again?
Alex.
Alex, what are your thoughts here? Where are you landing on the 6 to 7 out of 10 spectrum here?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair score actually for Kane Legend. You know, like, they got to start somewhere. It's not going to be perfect, especially as a pretty early game for the generation. I think they did their best. I think they were kind of riding off of the coattails a bit off of I know Blood Money is not the topic, but like that's the game they worked on before, and I feel like they kind of were trying to figure out how to make like a game that is less stealth.
So you got 5.2, 8.5, 6.4.
I guess on my view, it'd probably end up being like a 5.8, but like 6.4 as like the EGI2 review is fair.
We also got a 2. Don't forget we got a 2 out of 10.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, also, I've got a bit of funny video game news. So
let's hear it. I don't have the button
Yeah,
with
so
me, but I guess I should probably put that in here at some point.
Oh, okay. But so Kane and Lynch is announced back. I guess it has to be Gamescom 2006.
You gotta be kidding me.
Don't
let them get to Jenny.
Shows it off as a third-person action game. That's a departure from their usual stealth territory, and has grit. It has an atmosphere that's like the Michael Mann movie Heat, and it's got a lot of explosions. It has a scene in the bar, but it turns out Michael Gov, of course, it's always him. He comes to see it.
Ooh,
the first thing he assumes is 8 days.
That's it?
Yeah, because he thought it was 8 days. The canceled PlayStation 3 game that also has explosions, a bar scene, and 2 players, I believe.
And who says it?
Michael Gove.
Michael Gove?
Oh, Gove, yeah.
The current Secretary for Housing, for leveling up housing and communities?
Yeah. This is actually during his early days in Parliament, apparently.
So when he was still the educator... Well, he wasn't... In 2006, he wasn't even in government.
Huh.
I'll leave it up to the chat because I don't even... I'm confused as hell.
Yeah, I hope we get the verdict on that. But
People say it's funny video game news, so that to me, I mean, it was a bit of a walk, but what good funny video game news isn't worth a walk?
Please, I won't let anyone do any.
Yeah, for sure.
And now something I want to point out. Someone says below. We're looking at a below 6 in the polls here for Kane and Lynch Deadman. And so EGI2 Watcher says having a shooter game with a mentally ill protagonist doesn't play well on days in the U.S. when it had another mass shooting. 4.8. Got to admit, these kinds of this kind of a plot line, these kinds of story beats, they get less and less interesting as the situation in our own country gets worse and worse, doesn't it?
Yeah, I can't agree more.
Well, best of luck to you. Happy Valentine's Day. Which guy from Florida, California are you?
Alex from
Alex.
Area? Around southern area.
Southern area.
Oh, I don't know if you're taking
what, like a Hoya?
Yes. But I don't know if you're taking requests for 6 to 7 out of 10 games. But,
fancy kid.
Keep the Runabout series in mind. I think that's actually a pretty solid one. If you ever feel like doing an entire series, just look at Runabout.
I'll take a look at Runabout. Wait a minute. Is that the one with the animals that are just running?
That's the one with it's like a predecessor to Burnout. You're driving cars, you're crashing into things and doing like vehicular heists.
All right. Well, I'll take a look. But keep your nose clean.
Will do.
Okay, so I think that we have a final verdict, and this is just bowling me over a little bit. I think it's trying to follow along with everybody as best as I can here in the chat. Cover your ears because I do believe that we do have a score, and that score is 5.9 out of 10. It's a 5.9. It's below 6, which I feel a lot of people were feeling, and I did some just back of the napkin math as quickly as I possibly could, and it was probably going to be about a 6, but the 2 really kind of knocked things down a little bit in the average there. So a below 6 score seems fair to me. My thoughts, if you're curious, is that this type of third-person action game is clearly a cash-in on the kind of Gears of War cover shooter style thing. The fact of the matter is that they did try to make it seem a little bit unique in that it clearly came from a place of great interest in these heist movies, but unfortunately the mechanics were just so simple, and the storyline seems a bit hackneyed in retrospect, that I must agree that below 6 seems fair. But let's move on to our. That was our first game. Let's move on to our second game, Kane and Lynch 2: Dog Days.
It's just this. My old friend Kane flies in tomorrow.
Oh, that sounds nice. Should we all go out for dinner? Lynchy? Lynch?
Check. Someone said, "Oh, I accidentally muted myself somehow."
Oh. I hear you. You want to take it from the top?
Yeah, go ahead. So, caller, you're on the air with EGI 627. Who is it?
It's Cody.
Cody from the Cape Coral Boys. What are your thoughts on Kane and Lynch 2: Dog Days? Because I'm looking right now. I know that you're obviously you got a lot to say about this, but what I'm seeing is actually not that far off from what we were seeing before with Kane and Lynch Dead Men.
So this game has a much more personal feel to it, because most of the game, the camera work seems to be done by like a mysterious camera person. It's like a lot of handheld shaky cam. You know?
Yeah, I'm seeing some shaky cam right here. This is obviously streets of some that looks like Chinese kanji. That's
Shanghai. It's Shanghai.
Shanghai. It's not. Oh, I would have. My first guess was Hong Kong, but oh yeah, no, I do. Now I remember it's Shanghai. Well, now it says Shanghai on the screen there. So you've played the full game. You've played through it. Are you? And from what I understand, Cody, there is a sort of a group of people who are now. Going back to this game and finding that there's something special about it that maybe wasn't recognized.
Yeah. Well, this game was much directed.
Yes.
It was directed much more like a snuff film than the first game.
You think this is? You think it's directed like a snuff film?
Yeah, because it's like handheld. It's like late to mid thousands, like handheld camera style. There's parts of the game where it's, I guess, like there's edited. The mosaic over ultraviolence or genitals that would be on, like, if it was being shown on the news. They use that effect a lot in engine, in game.
They mean they're covering up the bits.
Like when you do a headshot, it mosaics out the person's skull blown to pieces. Every headshot turns into a censored version of a headshot.
All right. So
that's fun. That's fun.
This is fun to you. So you're looking at this and you're saying, like, this is a gameplay. This is a yes for you for gameplay.
It's about the implication, Robbie.
The implication? What's the implication?
The implication is there's something so brutal and hardcore going on screen that it has to be edited even from the player.
From the player. So you're saying that the game is so crazy that, or the sense of the sense that you're getting is that you're playing something so crazy that you can't even see. You're not even allowed to see the full thing. And by blurring out some of the gore and some of the more, I would say, graphic violence, that it adds a level of let's say unease to it that you find engaging.
It leaves it to the player's imagination to imagine something even more horrible than they could even render. Yeah.
This it kind of reminds me of there was back in I want to say 2003. There was a game that came out that people were really talking a lot about. This was the game that came out from the people that made the Killzone games and the Horizon Forbidden Horizon Zero Dawn and Forbidden West.
Cyber Pocahontas is all I like to call it. Yeah.
Yes. So the I don't know. I mean, Shell Shock Vietnam is the game that I'm thinking of, and it came from Guerrilla Games. And thank you for Mail City for clearing my mind a little bit. And of course, there was something about the fact that this was the first Vietnam shooter to get a lot of attention that had come out in the wake of all of these Call of Duty and Medal of Honor games. And so, of course, we have a sense that conflict is a bit more cut and dry in terms of good and evil. But to go and make a game set in Vietnam and also a game that was supposed to, the developers themselves had described as wanting to be almost like a horror movie, almost like a horror game, a third-person horror shooter, that added something to it. And when you actually played the game, it was pretty, not particularly. I guess there's
the Vietnam War is the most terrifying thing I can think of.
Yeah, I don't like thinking about it.
So if we can go to whether Kane or Lynch won they were bad people, the developers were bad people, or the writers, that's question. Definitely Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days. The writers were definitely bad people.
You think
in my opinion.
This is so even with all of the stuff that you're talking about in terms of the engagement you have with the game, you still feel like maybe the people that were putting it together and the final days of development were perhaps of lesser moral quality.
Or at the very least, they took a fact-finding trip. The research that they did about Shanghai, they did not find good things when they researched about Shanghai crime.
What do you mean?
Oh, just.
It's all right, Cody. We don't have to go. You know what, Cody? It's Valentine's Day. It's a day for celebration. We're celebrating the universal love of our common humanity. So why don't we just keep it at that and give me your first. But while you're on the line, let's go ahead and do our first yes or no of the night, which is gameplay. Gameplay, yes or no?
Oh no, gameplay is garbage. No, that's some of the worst cover shooting. No, it's repetitive, and oof, no. Let's get the poll.
Oh my goodness gracious! Cody from Florida saying it's a no for gameplay for Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days, and I have to say that this is one of the more surprising things because Cody called back with the excitement to talk about this game, and he's given us a no. We're seeing no from Nathan Vegetable, no from Eraserhead Baby. We're seeing a yes from Grouch Trout. Wrong. I'm gonna say poll. Let's get a poll going because this could be a turning point for Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days. It's obviously got style. It's got some sort of a quality to it.
It's not easy to stick to cover. Also, you have to literally go into the options menu to turn off the shaky cam. Shaky cam is on by default in all aspects.
Oh, that was Brandon. Damn it. Okay, so I'm gonna. So I'm seeing a lot of no's. Unfortunately, the poll person is gone, and I keep forgetting to look up how to do polls on my own. Anyway, the keyboard's not working anymore. This is the same keyboard that I did spill water on last week. So some of the buttons that were not working, so I can hit the delete button as much as I want, and the computer won't shut down. But unfortunately, another of the other buttons just kind of go in and out of existence in terms of not existence, but in terms of functionality.
Even if you try not to shoot civilians, you're gonna wind up shooting civilians just because the controls are so bad.
All right, that's it, guys. This sounds like a
no.
I would have loved to be a better person in this game, but the controls would not allow me to be.
Cody, thank you so much for your call. I think you've really, this is quite a turning point for Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days on EGI 2 6 to 7 out of 10 game reviews. Thank you for your call, but we're going to...
I love everything else. I love everything else about it.
Absolutely. I mean, there's something about it you have to admit. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be the gameplay. Thanks for your call. Caller, you're on the air with EGI 2 6 to 7 out of 10 game reviews. 6.
Hey,
we're talking about the Kane and Lynch series, and it just got a no for gameplay.
It's my name's Tony from Walmart.
It's Tony from Walmart again. He's called back in. Unfortunately, if you're called back in to try and defend the gameplay, you're too late because everyone says there's no gameplay.
Right. So what can I vote on for the next thing?
Hold on for a second. I got a text from somebody who says, "Well, that's what I did." So my friend Brandon, who has been helping, who's actually also not only helping us run the polls in the chat, but is also helping to edit Dance Freak, just texted me that I how to type in the hashtag poll into the chat. But unfortunately, when I did that, it didn't work, and now the / key on my keyboard doesn't work. So we're just gonna have to go from gut feeling and just good old fashioned eyeballing of the chat to get the answers that we need going forward. But next up, Tony from Walmart is graphics.
Yeah. Okay. This is a little controversial.
So you're saying I mean, one of the things that Cody was saying was that he felt like at least that the graphics had some quality to them. Are you going to say no to graphics?
Yes, I am.
Well, my goodness gracious! So if we're hearing a no from Tony from Walmart, that it's a no from graphics. That even all the stylistic stuff they did, all the stuff they tried to make this look different from the first Kane and Lynch game has unfortunately not been good enough, and we have to let's just put it to the chat right now because this is turning out to be a much darker situation for Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Day. First of all, and also so far, no dogs.
They didn't try hard enough on the graphics, in my opinion. You know, they didn't make it like. First of all, they want to be edgy, but it's not edgy enough. You know. So they have no identity. You know what I'm saying?
Good Christ. Yeah.
They're trying to appeal to the broad audience instead of their core audience, and that's why it doesn't feel right with me, you know?
It doesn't feel right to you. It's almost as if you were to go to like if you were to take yourself down to Rodeo Drive and go to every single store and pile up yourself with various designer handbags and shirts and weird collars and bracelets and jewelry and cell phone cases and all just get every gewgaw that you could spend your money on, you pile it on top of your whole body. What's underneath it? And you can't even see the person beneath it.
Right. And then, am I allowed to compare it to other games?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if you look at, I would say Max Payne. Max Payne definitely had way better everything. You know what I'm saying? Like Max Payne took it a step further, and that's where Kane and Lynch should have been.
Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and agree. I might be. I try not to insert myself into the into the actual votes themselves, but I gotta say, you might be selling me that there's no graphics to even talk about here. There's
Exactly.
obviously there was a mission, but unfortunately, if there's a body, but the body is a husk. It's an empty body.
Right, and there's no soul in that body. You know.
All right. Well, thank you for your call, Tony from Walmart. We are seeing we are seeing a current poll right now that the graphics are there is still a yes for graphics going, but it sounds like at least for me and Tony, we're saying no on graphics. But the poll has ended and it is a yes. And I want to say if Brandon, if you're out there somewheres, unfortunately, like I said, the keyboard doesn't work, so I couldn't hit all the buttons that I was supposed to hit. You're saying one person juiced the poll results, says EGI2 watcher. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time in the day to extrapolate what people are juicing and who's got the what's its and the business community. I accidentally hung up on a caller just now because the button didn't work, and we can't do a whole investigative journalist things. All we've got is the polls and our gut feeling. And I got to say that when it comes to graphics for Kane and Lynch 2, wait, this is a different one. Graphics for Kane and Lynch 2 looks like a yes. Caller, you're on the air with EGI2, 6 to 7 out of 10 game reviews, 6. The Kane and Lynch series. We have just given against my own judgments. We have given graphics a yes for Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days. And what are your thoughts on that?
Robbie, it's Catherine from Philly.
Catherine from Philly, how are you feeling about this whole situation? I mean, unbelievable situation that we're in.
It's a damn bloodbath out there. To be completely honest, I feel like I can't believe what I'm seeing right now. Because I get being critical of the graphics of the first one, but I feel like this one, they're really hot. They're aging like milk, and that's how they should age. They only look worse as the years go by, and that's kind of what's cool about them, in my opinion.
So you're
like the camera is a guy. The camera is a character. That's
the
amazing.
camera's a guy.
No other game has that.
Catherine from Philly is saying this is the yes felt correct to you.
He didn't make it.
Yes it's a yes for me. I gotta advocate for the grungy, for the disgusting looking video game here.
Wait, someone said Catherine from Ithaca. No, this is Catherine from Philadelphia.
Yep.
There's
exactly.
cats from Ithaca.
Yeah. Absolutely. So anyway, I don't know. That's how I feel. That's what I gotta say. How do you? I mean, you're not as sold, but also, I don't know. That's the vote's been cast. So.
Well, Catherine, I gotta say, I'm a little embarrassed because I realized that the sleeves on my shirts are starting to shrink a little bit with each wash of these things, and every time I lift my arm up, I think that people can see my armpit hair, which is, it's there, and I'm not trying to hide it necessarily, but.
It's one of those weird things.
It's just one of those weird things. It makes you feel uncomfortable a little bit. You plan on showing certain parts of your body to the people, and you show a little bit more, and it just maybe comes off as a little bit accidental.
Sure. Yeah.
Dog Team says staple on new sleeves. I think I might have to look into sleeving up a little bit.
Sleeve extensions.
Sleeve extensions. Would not a terrible idea to put on sleeve extensions. I could also wear a long sleeve shirt underneath it, but I think it probably gets a little too hot. What with the PC tower I got going on?
Oh, true.
Pull for armpit hair.
What are you rocking right now? What's your graphics card? Currently?
What's my what?
What's your graphics card?
Oh, it's like a 30. It's like an old one. It's like 3070.
Love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean,
got the 980, still rocking the 980 Ti.
I mean, it's still, I gotta say, it still runs plenty of these newer games pretty smooth. But I rarely play games on the tower anymore. Hopefully that changes once I'm off this Twitch contract, and I feel like I can spend a little bit more time playing games on the stream. But right now, because I'm not supposed to play games on the stream, I just come up with funny little things and little slides, and people have a good time and call in, and we're not having the worst time possible, if you hear what I'm saying.
No, absolutely. I love the stories lately. We had a violent story today. There was, on the last episode, there was like the water, a lot of stuff about people expressing water from their bodies in large quantities.
Oh yeah, the water situation. We didn't. I don't think we even really got to the end of that thing. Poll says they can't see the armpit hair, so that makes me feel a little bit better. EGI2 Watcher says, "Look into Father, forgive me too." I think it's Forgive Me Father, and I do have it. It's wish listed, and I already own the first game. So, Catherine, you're saying you were a yes on graphics, but where are you on sound?
I'm kind of I know a little bit about sound from my life in the real world. I like the sound in this game a lot. I think it kind of lends itself well to that thing of just immense, intense presence. Like you're just there's a camcorder that just has the weakest little mic that's just getting blasted out, and your head's exploding, and there's a guy screaming, and there's like people crying and stuff in the background.
Gotta say, I don't mind those
really
Christmas lights.
The Christmas lights. Oh yeah, no, that looks like the way that like there's that specific kind of camcorder, mid-2000s kind of like handheld, consumer-grade electronics kind of look to the way that the thing is like catching fake light, And I feel like that's just something you don't really. That's like it's an attention to detail thing that might not look that good technically, right? Like what it is not that complicated of an effect, but it's like I don't know, it's rarely used because I guess there's just a different kind of look that people want. That's maybe more gamic or maybe more like real or something. I don't know. I don't really know what it is.
EGI2 Watcher says it could be called lens flare. I think that it also could be referred to as pixel bleed. Nathan Vegetable in the chat wants me to answer why can you not play games? I need more info. I can play games, but I am not supposed to play games on this channel on Twitch. At least for the time being, because of the contract that we had signed. They gave us a little bit of starter funds to get the channel going, which hasn't obviously, which takes a long time to work through their own systems. But the stipulation is that I'm not supposed to play video games, even though this is a video games news, culture, and reviews show.
Right. I mean, I do have to say, I don't think anyone would be mad to see you play more, to see you not playing something on your Steam Deck with glasses.
Well, I'm happy to say that that this is the last month of the contract, so we're going to be opening up the possibilities a little bit, as long as we can keep the not to put pressure on anybody, but the fact is if we can keep the financial side of the stream going, then we'll be able to do more stuff. But I don't want, again, no pressure. Everybody's been so generous, especially when it comes to the stories and everything else that. And just watching and being part of the, whatever the hell it is that we're doing here.
Sure.
With Kane and Lynch 2 dog days.
We're behind you. We're all
thank
here.
You, Catherine. And happy Valentine's Day to you and to everyone that you've ever loved.
Yes. Take care.
All right.
Have a good
bye-bye.
one.
Caller, you're on the air with an EGI2 6 to 7 out of 10 game reviews 6 Kane and Lynch series. What are you doing? Who are you? Where are you? And what are your thoughts?
You know what? It's Soda from East Carolina.
It's Soda. It's the East Carolina. Let's see, the East Carolina kid.
Yeah, that's me. I got more to say.
But before you say what's on your heart, before you say what's on your mind, and also I would ask you to maybe either speak more directly into the microphone, or if you have volume on your end that you can turn up. I don't know if I can turn up your volume on my end much.
Is this better?
Where is that?
Does this work? We good?
Everybody in the chat can hear Soda, okay? Soda, where are you on sound?
I personally really enjoy how this game uses sound, it kind of is unsettling in a way. It's just strange. There's no other game really like it.
Well, someone was saying it. Max Payne 3.
I've actually played Max Payne 3 quite a few times, and I say more in the visual aspect with the weird filters. It kind of is like that,
Oh.
but the sound is like
Fair,
a bit more
fair point.
professional.
But what? Just in terms of sound, though, are you're saying that this is a definite yes for you on sound?
Yeah, no, I love how it uses sound to just completely disorient you.
Napoleon
You can
Blown
be
Apart says
thrown off
not
in
enough
combat.
dogs. 6 out of 10. Got to admit, Soda here. We've been kind of coming in and out of this long play footage, and we have not seen a single family friend.
I don't think dogs should be near this game. To be fair, I don't trust what this game will do with our friends. I don't think it has the best of intentions.
No dogs. So no, but I kind of agree with you. With all the terrible violence and the bodies flailing all over the place and people falling into their own. Oh, there was a dog. It got shot. Well.
Oh God.
Unfortunately, we've got our first look at a dog in Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days, and look wasn't long, and the dog wasn't with us for a hot minute. But let's hope that the story of the all dogs going to heaven rings true, and that dog is up there in greener pastures, running around with giant soft chewable elements. It's sort of like one of those Quake speedrunner levels that you can make.
Yeah, those are awesome, bro. I think that this is where, what Call of Duty Zombies, the Hellhounds, I think that's where they come from in this game.
Call of Duty Zombies Hellhounds?
Yeah, I think that's where they come from, man.
I haven't played the zombies stuff in a while, so I didn't realize that they'd gotten up to the level of putting dogs in there. Unbelievable.
I think, yeah, they put Hellhounds in Black Ops back a while ago, and I think Black Ops came out after this one, so there could be a link here. Maybe investigated.
Yeah, Black Ops, you're right about that. Black Ops did come out after this one. Took me a second to remember. And I can remember that because I was in one relationship with Kane and Lynch. Dead Man came out. And I've got to take it back. Black Ops was first.
Well,
Black Ops was when I was still single.
We might have a problem here. They ripped off Kane and
Oh,
Lynch.
Cody Fancy Pants. Not great. Not a great look for Cody in the chat right now.
Oh.
I mean, obviously there is a scene of there is the dog food festival eating. There is a festival in China where they do eat dogs, but with all the
homeless Brazilian people getting chopped up, no dogs.
Well, this is taking the chat's taking an odd turn. So let's go ahead and see if we can't give the sound the definitive answer that it deserves.
The sound is very good, in my opinion.
So sound is a yes from Soda. Everyone in the chat is very uncomfortable trying to reconcile information that some information that is. Some information that's true and yet still feels wrong, and that's just how we feel as people sometimes when we learn something uncomfortable.
That is quite true. That is that's the law of nature. That's how everything goes. To be fair, it sucks.
Well, Soto, you were saying something about East Carolina that you wanted to tell us before we keep moving on.
Yeah, that I think the vans are tracking my location, and Kane and Lynch might be paying me a visit, so wish me well.
Oh, wish you luck, but remember, if you've got a camcorder on hand, just record whatever happens, and you might find yourself as some sort of
an extra in the new one.
An extra, or perhaps in your own sort of side story in the Kane and Lynch universe.
Is that Sony video game news?
It's just I don't know. Everyone feels feeling a little bit off, to be honest.
You know, we'll see what comes of it, you know?
Well, thank you for your call, Soda. Good luck to you in East Carolina, which seems to be a parallel universe with a great deal of just a great deal of trouble and violence that we all hope that you get through successfully.
Thank you.
And
Goodbye, Robbie.
happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's once again.
All right.
Bye.
So we got we do have a poll. Looks like we've got a sound poll going right now. It's almost ended. Nathan Vegetable, Cody, Polly, Too Pure says. Wait, did I miss something? Too Pure says Robbie, and I say Too Pure. Too Pure. I don't know. Did I miss something? I was in the middle of clicking on some buttons. Sound gets a yes, so let's go ahead and give Sound a yes in the scoring. Cam Lynch, is it still too loud? Is the yes still way too loud? Robbie up. You heard it for okay. So I'd like to. Is there something? Did I miss? Was I supposed to do something and I missed something? It's still very loud. Everybody just cover your ears for 1 second, because while I'm just here, I just want to, before I forget it, I'm going to just turn it down a little bit more and see if that made a difference. Okay, so I'll have to do that on my own, just adjust the sound and make a note about that. Maybe when I'm doing the punny video game news. Crapmaster Zach. And also add the breaking news button. Okay, so the fact of the matter is that we've got one last thing to talk about, and I think what we can all guess where this is going to go, without knowing their hearts. Did the people who made this game seem like good people? And I'm going to go ahead and without wanting to lean too heavy on everybody for making this call, I'm going to go ahead and say a no. Because of course they called it Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days, and the first dog I saw was immediately shot to death. So that says a no to me. I think obviously there's games where dogs serve a specific purpose, and sometimes those dogs are hellhounds, and sometimes those dogs are zombie dogs, and sometimes those dogs are just mutant Nazi dogs, and all those dogs can be put down without much moral difficulty. But we don't like to see it in Kane and Lynch 2, and we certainly don't like to think about it happening to the dogs that we've known in our lives. And every time I think about a dog getting shot, I think about one of the dogs that I had when I was a child, growing up in Florida. And maybe I've told this story before about dogs, the way that dogs came to us as children, growing up in a swampy part of northern Florida, where you would just be wandering around in the cut, and the dogs would come out of the swamp, and then they'd follow you home, and then all of a sudden you had new dogs. And one time a dog came, and we called him Ralph. And Ralph did have a bullet wound in his leg, and luckily my uncle was a veterinarian and was able to treat the bullet wound, and Ralph became a happy animal until he ran off into the swamp one day and disappeared. So hopefully Ralph's out there somewhere still. Of course, that was close to 30 years ago, 30 plus years ago. And but weirder things have happened when it comes to dog lives. Some dogs can live quite long, and also even if he didn't last much longer, even if he ended up in the belly of some sort of alligator or just a poisoned, decaying corpse as a result of a terrible snake bite. I like to think that he ended up in dog heaven, which, as I suggested earlier, might look somewhat like a Quake speedrunning level. Caller, you're on the air with EGI2 6 to 7 out of 10 game reviews. Who are you? Where are you calling from? Good people?
Not good people. This is EGI2 Watcher up in Portland, Maine.
Oh, EGI2 Watcher, and your comment previous about issue of gun violence in our country was well met, and 100% agree with you here. I think this game feels a little bit like it kind of takes itself a bit too seriously, but also in a way that I don't like.
Yeah. It's like you see what it's like to be a psychopath throwing people away. Yeah.
Well,
not good people.
Not good people. But in terms of the scoring that we've done so far this evening, how have you felt?
Okay, I was happy with the scoring of the first game. I was surprised. I thought it was going to score higher, and I'm glad it went down a little bit from your score, because you seem to like the games. I mean, you review games that you like.
I don't. Well, I don't. I've only really played the first one with any bit, and I wouldn't say I like it. I just felt like it was, it was at the time when it came out with the 2006-2007 era. I was just happy to see new games coming out on the 360, and I was a big Hitman fan, so I was glad to see something new from them, even though it wasn't obviously the same. Man, I keep throwing up in my mouth. It didn't feel like the same level of care had gone into it as something like Hitman 2, but I still enjoyed myself for the couple of hours that I had rented it from Gamefly. But EGI2 watcher, happy Valentine's Day. Any thoughts from you on this Valentine's Day?
Love each other. I don't know, man.
Yeah. We're going to go, and we're kind of we've talked a little bit about it before. We're at the cusp of a pretty nasty bit of a season for our society, and I hope that we can all remember that it's okay to just be it's all right to say hello to people, and don't be afraid to be the first person to introduce yourself, and don't be afraid to let people know that they are seen and heard and cared for simply for their humanity.
And smile, man. Just go around smiling.
I smile. People, parents at the playground probably think I'm crazy because no one likes to smile in LA, and I'm beaming because I like to be there. I like to see all the kids having a good time without all of the fact that they don't have any of these adult cares that we carry around with us and weigh us down. They don't have to be thinking about Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days while they're figuring out what the world is. It's good stuff.
So you give them the overly happy smile wave.
Absolutely. I'm a weak salute kind of a person.
Oh, weak salute. Sure. I like the smile wave.
The other time, morning, I was, or actually it was a night hike. I was hiking by myself because I had a long work day. I didn't make it to the gym, so I thought I'll just take, I'll just kind of hike to this spot that I know is going to be a good workout. And there was these two guys walking. As I was walking past them, they were parked and they were having a conversation. And I did this. Might take a second for you to see it, but
yeah.
They seemed to like it, and we all had a little laugh because I didn't want to say hi to one first and the other one thinks, so why didn't you say hi to me first? So I said hi to both of them at the same time.
And they
with a weird look on my
understood this
face.
signal.
Yes.
They understood this signal. The
universal signal of just being on your way to doing something, but still wanting to make sure that people are know that they've been seen.
Well, if this poll was about whether or not Robbie's a good person, we all know what the score would be.
As someone who spends a great deal of time wondering if I've done the wrong thing, that means a lot to me. But your thoughts on Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days, I think, are the thoughts of many other people in the chat that I've seen, and that is.
You know what interested me? What interested me was what you said about that journalist.
Wait, which one?
Getting fired. The guy getting fired? That was fascinating.
Oh, it's the Jeff Gerstmann thing.
Was that the first game you reviewed?
Yeah, so he used to work at GameSpot, which is, and he, this is, back when they were still, games were kind of really getting revved
Viable.
up as a major force in American media. And so GameSpot was one of the places that people trusted for honest reviews. And when a guy gave his honest review of Kane and Lynch Dead Men, they gave him the door.
Now, I don't know anything about video games. You seem to be very big into video game journalism and stuff like that. So you must remember Gamergate.
Oh yeah.
because I kind of like my, let's call it political writings or whatever, kind of just veers into that just because of this guy Weave. I write about him a lot.
Mhm.
He was involved in that. So that was an ugly, ugly time. Huh?
Yeah. No.
I think we know what side you were on in Gamergate, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I knew some of the people that were involved on the press end
Getting
of that,
harassed.
and you know, that was back when I was living on the East Coast and was spending a lot of time with people that worked at Vox and Polygon and what have you, and it felt like a weird time, a weird, ugly transition time for people. But I think that overall, the games industry has changed significantly, and now the other day I was listening to NPR, and they had a hour-long segment on 1A about cozy gaming.
What is it called?
Cozy gaming.
Cozy?
Yeah.
Well, I would need an explanation. What's
cozy
that?
gaming is like, I'm sure a lot of people in the chat are aware of cozy gaming, but cozy gaming is like games where you just like run a hotel for cats.
Oh, okay. There was an hour-long NPR?
And there was an hour-long thing on NPR about it, and it was a wonderful. If you look up 1A, which is a great NPR show, and cozy gaming, you'll find it.
Okay.
What was the game? The main game. I mean, Stardew Valley obviously got brought up a lot, and then Animal Crossing, what have you.
Right. I've heard of those games.
You've heard of those games, but then there's quite deep cuts that you can do, and it's the fact that the good guys, the people that were true of heart, won in the end, and the folks that still that want to live in their little worlds get to live in their little caves and pop
They're
every
all
once in a
following
while.
Donald Trump now. They're off video games and they're on the Trump campaign.
Well, won't get political, but I think,
well, it's pretty much what it is. I mean,
yeah. Well,
the same crowd.
I thank you for your call, but I want to just say, while we are we do have you here for the final game review score. What would you say? You said EGI2 Watcher, you gave us a 6 out of 10. Were you a 6 out of 10 on this one?
I was a 4. No, I was a 4 in the first. No, but that was the first one. This one I'm going to give a 5.2.
5.2 out of 10. We're on one of these loading screens there. 5.2 out of 10. Love to hear what people are saying about scores in the chat here, and thank you for your call.
Yep.
Unbelievable how what people have been saying about Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days here. 5.4, 5.2, 5.3. We do have a Geo giving a 6, which is a little bit higher than I would have expected. Caller, you're on the air with EGI2 6 to 7 out of 10 game reviews. Who are you? Where are you calling from? What's your score for Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days?
Hi, how's it going? It's Tony from Walmart.
Tony from Walmart. I'm gonna. If you find yourself in a Walmart and you find yourself standing next to Tony, you're in safe hands. Tony from Walmart. What's your EGI? What's your score for Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days?
1.2.
1.2.
Yes, sir.
Good gracious! And what's your reason for scoring that low? So
Well,
you know,
like,
4.8
again,
for Mossy
they
Lump.
They want to be edgy, but they don't want to try hard enough to be edgy. The sound is bad. Graphics aren't that great. There's also better alternatives out there in around the same time period. And overall, it's just a negative experience for me. It's it's a bad taste in my mouth.
And again, this is coming from Tony from Walmart. We talked about it a little bit earlier. You get home from a tough day working at the store, working at the shop, working at the factory, office, wherever you end up working. You want to put your feet up. You want to have a relaxed time. You're gonna kind of go to a different world for a little bit. You put in this kind of a business, and you say to yourself, "What in the hell? What? I don't want to look at this."
And can I make one more point?
Absolutely.
All right. So when I was working at Walmart and I work in electronics, and these people come up, they're like really bad people. I see buying Kane and Lynch 2, and it's just very bad taste in my mouth, like I said, and it's just I didn't like the people that wanted this game. They were very bad, mean people. So.
You're almost like you could sense something on them, like a fugue.
Yeah, something like that.
Sort of like the character in the Shadow over Innsmouth. He goes and he gets on the bus with all the folks that are heading back to town, heading back to Innsmouth, and he says, "Well, I guess they had some pretty visible markings that made them seem a little bit off, but he still felt that hostility, didn't he?"
Right. Now, could you imagine if we had that in real life?
Oops, Sprite exploded. Well, this is the second person I think that we've seen in the chat says, "Is Kane Lynch a game I should pick up? I want to pick up a game with a lot of grit and gore." I would say probably if you would want, if you'd like something of this type of grit, if you want looking for grit and gore, if you want something that plays a little better, and if you are enjoying the game footage that you're seeing here, just get Max Payne 3. And
yeah,
so we got Oops, Sprite exploded, and then we also have Napoleon blown apart somewhere in the chat. So a lot of people are what's up with these Twitch handles that are referring to just exploding bodies?
I mean, that's the audience Kane and Lynch provides. You know, this is pretty much expected with this type of game. Like I said, bad people. Like when they were buying the game.
Okay. My feeling is that we have to just keep in mind that, like, you know, some people just need a thrill.
Right.
And I try to consider that when I'm looking at a game like this. You know, I played Manhunt from beginning to end, and I had my own experience playing that, and I didn't go back for Manhunt 2. So that's hopefully says something about me. I think that it's sometimes you're looking for something a little bit different. You're looking to push the boundaries a little bit. Oh,
but like when the game's over and you still have that mentality, there's the problem. You know.
Absolutely. Well, Tony, thank you for your call. You gave it a 1.2, and I think that's going to drag the score down significantly. But we do have to get to the score eventually because my throat's about to shut down.
All right. Well, good luck on your voice.
Thank you so much, Tony, and happy Valentine's Day to you and to everyone you love and everyone you've ever loved and everyone that you will love in the future. Okay, I will have some soda, but I also will drink some water really fast. Oh, Giovanni H. Says, "Please don't catch what I have." I don't think I've got what you had. I think I have the result of talking for 2 hours and 15 minutes straight. But we do have a score to get to, so let's go ahead and get to that score if we can. Game review slideshow without having we said no to that. Game review slideshow. Game score, obviously not. This is the 5.9 out of 10 that the first Kane and Lynch game got, but I want to go ahead and leave. Visks asked, did you play Manhunt with the PS2 headphones on so the antagonist would whisper things into your ears? I did, and it was quite unnerving. And I played through the entire game in one long night, and it was quite an experience I'm glad I had, but I don't find myself ever wishing I could go back and relive it. Email is back. Volume of that oh no is now 1%, so the no is very, very low, but the yes is very, very loud, is what people are saying. Can't do anything about that right now. We do want to see if we can't get the scores in. We see a lot of I see a 5.9 for 2 from Giovanni H. Puppy Mouth says, "Have you tried dramatic pauses in your speech?" And to Puppy Mouth, I say, if I pause too long, then I start to get extremely anxious, and then I start to talk really, really fast. And that's why when Allan and I are in the studio together, he has the long stick to poke me with, so that I remember to take breaths and let other people talk. 3.9, 5.0, 6.9. Pause like a puppy dog. I'm not sure what that. Oh, pause as if the dogs, the ghost dogs, that all of the dogs that have lived were to come back and put their little dog hands on me and give me, as if to say, it's okay if you take a little bit of a break for yourself. It's okay if you take a deep breath and drink some water so your throat don't close up. But unfortunately, I still have to be who I am and live in the body that I have, and with the history of the histories that I have inside of me. Yeah, I like Dig Dug, makes me smile. Dig Dug, Pause Inc., call that Garfield. Don't know what that means, but thanks for the the 100 baubles. Thank you, Robbie. Thank you, Dog Hands. I think that we are going to go ahead and give the thing a score right now, and this is going to be a bit of a page turner to me because based on what I've got down here, I am going to go ahead and game score. I think people are going to, if anybody's got any final things that they'd like to get added to the meme, then now's the time because. Uh-oh. All right, and this is our. We got to figure out a better way of doing this, but the final score for Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days here on EGI 2, 6 to 7 out of 10 game reviews is 4.8 out of 10. Sorry, Napoleon, blown apart, but unfortunately we weren't able to add your score to the average. But there you have it. Tried to give as much of a lead-in as possible for people, but unfortunately we did have to give this. I gave the score when I got the score. It's locked in. It's 4.8 out of 10. Aura Autumn says 2. Heim. Indy Joe says fair. Joe Botnick says fair. He was scoring. EGI2 says something about Dig Dug. I don't know what the Dig Dug thing is. Dig Dug is probably at least an 8 out of 10 for me. I mean, Dig Dug's a fantastically fun game. That's a game that I feel like could use the 99 treatment. If you think about those Pac-Man 99, Tetris 99, F-Zero 99, I'd love to see a Dig Dug 99. Don't know exactly how it would work. Crapmaster Zach says that sucks. Is that directed at me? I was just doing it as average as best I can. Kane and Lynch 99 says slice of gold. That would be quite the feat. I do think that if with some updated ragdoll physics, that could be quite a lot, and maybe take a little bit of the edge off of some of the violence that you see in that game, and head it into the kind of almost a. Oh, the video game sucks. Crashmaster 6 says, yeah, it seems like it's a bad game. I'm still kind of interested in playing it just because of what some of the people have said about it. Obviously, Cody from Florida has a fair bit of good things to say about it, even though he also admitted that the gameplay was fairly lacking. But love you too, Crapmaster Zach. Love you too, EGI2 watcher. Sprites exploded. Also love everybody here tonight. It's Valentine's Day. I hope you've had a good night. I hope you had a good day. I hope people were kind to you and nice to you, and you were able to internalize some of that. And even if people were mean as shit, I hope that you could come here tonight and feel a little bit of a relief, because sometimes the world can be a nasty place, and sometimes people can speak out against each other in a way that is very unconstructive and not at all pleasing to the Lord above. But this is a place I hope that everybody feels like they can reach out and give each other a slap on the hand and receive some fellowship in return. Now, let's see if the keyboard started working again, because I would like a suggestion on who to raid. And yes, the keyboard has started working again. I had to turn it off and back on a few times because when I was trying to put in the score, the keyboard, the number keys stopped working, so I had to switch the on and off switch. It's a wireless keyboard. Feel safe, Napoleon pulling apart. Everyone, Retro Pals sounds like a good group of pals. I love pals. Let's go ahead and raid Retro Pals and see how that goes. And it's for mature audiences. Well, hopefully they're not doing a deep dive into Kane and Lynch 2 with grime and cigarette smoke in their hearts. But thank you so much for joining us here tonight at EGI2. Still, the game reviews show is we're still figuring out what the hell we're doing over here. Sorry for all the mistakes with the audio, but I promise that next time I will have at least one of these issues ironed out, and hopefully some new buttons. And I also want to say that I'm working right now on a EGI2 shirt that will hopefully be starting to that we'll be able to show you guys sometime sometime in the next week. And thank you for always being kind to each other. Ben and used to say it on our other show, Fan Fiction Showdown. We're all worthy of love, and on Valentine's Day 2024, I believe it. Again, thank you for joining. Love you guys, and good night.